Hello, welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm your host, Kevin Castley. Thanks for tuning in tonight. So tonight we have an absolute doozy of a video to dunk on. Hello, welcome to Superpower Broadcasting.
Boomerisms.
That's a classic stream mistake.
Hello?
Hello,
here?
Anybody there? Apparently not. Bring on dragon. Hashtag we need dragon.
The symbol of neoconservatism.
And mass imperialism. We all good. So I guess we'll look at the chat for a minute while Kevin's figuring things out. We've got Andrew already.
What's up? What's up, dude?
Hi, Andrew.
You got a patented hello from Arthur. You should feel
Arthur.
special. From Arthur.
Oh, yeah.
He says hello to very few people. He's very selective. So, how we doing, Arthur?
I'm not painting right now, so I feel kind of useless.
Oh, come on.
Come on, man.
You're
Well, that
not
was
useless.
That was a big boomerism on my part. Hashtag BoomerCastly. Holy shit! Yeah, no, that was not good. Yeah.
What,
So anyway,
what happened, Kevin?
Well, no one will know.
I had it open in another tab.
Okay.
Yeah. Never a good thing to do. You know, you always do your checks before you go live. Like, do we have the Google Gang thing for the background and all that stuff? Is it open in another tab so that I can, like, you know, see if anybody's in the chat, that kind of thing? No, that was probably the worst boomerism of the week so far. So, but who knows? I got a few more streams before the week's over, so maybe I'll do bigger boomerism. So
We can only hope. I believe in you, man.
Yeah. So, have you guys heard of somebody who goes by the name of Richard Medhurst?
No, never.
Oh,
Who's that? I've only heard of Madhouse Medhurst.
Yeah, no, Madhouse.
Suzuki.
Madhouse is good. Everybody should go and subscribe to American Madhouse. He's a pretty cool dude.
I've heard of Richard, but Medhurst isn't ringing a bell.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, I'd insert a milk emoji right now on the screen, except I don't have one ready to go because I'm not Richard. But yeah, he does enjoy milk. Unfortunately, this other Richard, he he's more into boots, and specifically Bashar the Butcher's boots.
Hey, Kevin, have you heard of Richard Smith?
No, who's that?
It's a long story, man.
Hey Reese, you ever hear about liberal unilateralism?
No.
Look into it.
Does that have to do with ladders?
Ladders.
I've heard of unilateralism.
Oh, that's right. Wait, you like obviously that's a School of International Relations thought. I was talking about something else. Okay.
Okay, fine. I'll drop the shtick. Yeah, Richard Medhurst, lovely. One of someone who we legitimately can call a bootlicker, and that's not up for debate.
Yeah.
He is a bootlicker.
This was Bentley's reaction the first time he saw a Richard Medhurst video.
Bentley wants to get away from this nonsense.
Bentley Haley is permanently traumatized.
Hello, Bentley.
So for those of you who might not know, Richard Medhurst is of Syrian descent. He, I believe, currently lives in the United Kingdom, and he's obviously been he's been featured on Russian affiliated media before, as we've commented on in past streams and past podcast episodes. But now he's really taken the leap into the deep end of the pool, and I guess we're going to be watching a video in which he defends the supposed democratic process in his home country.
Yeah. So basically, they conducted an election recently, and we're fans of democracy. We like elections, and this was in Syria, and who won? Oh, Assad won, and he won by a lot. So I guess that means that the people of Syria, they love Assad. So let's hear what Richard Medhurst has to say about about all this. Come on.
StreamYard.
Syrians have just re-elected Bashar al-Assad to be president.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
Bashar what?
Why
Assad.
why does it do this at the start? It used to only do that if you would pause it like halfway through for 5 minutes. Why?
Occupy StreamYard.
Hashtag occupy.
Occupy StreamYard.
Where's their home office? I need a sign. I need to stand outside there.
$30 a month? Come on.
Rip off.
I'm gonna try really hard not to comment on the scarf, but it's very distracting.
Oh God.
Good thing you got it out of the way.
His mom told him it looked swaggy before he went live.
Probably.
Like, it's just such an obnoxious thing to wear in a video.
It's hot where I'm at, so that scarf's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no.
Syrians
Oh,
have just re-elected Bashar al-Assad to be president for the 4th time. And the Western media has been
The
okay,
fourth time.
so
He must be popular. That sounds like FDR.
yeah, no, I guess he's super popular. I guess that's what it is. Four elections, all won. Wow, great. I wonder by what margins did he win? Oh, almost 100%. Oh, great, wonderful.
Who was he running against? Did they get their message out there?
He
No,
was
he was
running.
so popular that nobody wanted to run against
He was running against a corpse.
him.
calling it undemocratic because, as you know, any election
for
that the
corpse.
CIA doesn't control is undemocratic.
Oh, you did the meme.
Bro.
Oh.
Bruh. So he thinks the only reason I guess that Biden won in 2020 was because the CIA allowed it to. Well, then how do you explain Trump? I thought Trump didn't like the CIA. Why'd they let him win?
That is the sound of the narrative falling to pieces.
Like, which is it? Or maybe the CIA wanted Trump to win so that people would think that the CIA didn't control.
Oh.
See, think about it. It's like,
That's the 5 head right there.
yeah. Think about
No,
it, right?
it's
No,
just like-
Richard's a smart boy. He's a smart boy.
CIA derangement syndrome inbound.
Okay, like serious point here. I wish the CIA was as spooky and powerful as these guys make them out to be. The fact of the matter is they tried to kill Castro 600 times and they failed at every turn. The CIA is not that great at their job. Like, let's just be real about that. I wish they were, but they're pretty incompetent. So, yeah. I mean,
The logic there is our election is good and trustworthy because there are no outside sources to verify anything.
who needs outside sources? They're CIA controlled.
I see.
Uh-oh.
Oh, AOL
We
Kyle
got
noises.
Kyle malfunction. Yeah, AOL Kyle noises. Uh-oh.
That's a little scary.
A little spooky.
I'm a little scared, man.
Right? The media talks about sham elections, but they can't even expand or elaborate what that even means.
No.
Mm.
They have explained very clearly what it means is it wasn't fair. It was rigged. And
Define. You keep calling it a sham election. You want to tell me what that means? What do you mean by that?
Definition monger. Definition monger. You Anglo. By the way, Oz put out a poll on his channel a few days ago asking who the biggest menace to infrared was, and it was like leftists, I guess, like people like Vosh or whatever, like not true tankies There was also, I think it was like the CIA or whatever. And then number 2, though, 23%, Anglo nations such as Canada and Australia. Like it was,
Of
it was
course.
great. It was great.
Dun,
No, it was great.
dun,
If you go to infrared right
dun,
now,
dun,
it's
dun.
so spooky. The Anglo box. So if we go to infrared right now, he's got a community pull up. What's the greatest menace to infrared? 1, Mendaloid gang stalkers. So in other words, like genetic scientists that deny Mendel or whatever. Okay, that's super nerdy and specific and shit. But he's not a nerd. He's not a nerd. Bill Birds is a nerd. But okay, whatever. So Anglos, especially Australia and Canada, leftoids. Oh, he didn't say leftists. He said leftoids. So he a leftoid. Leftoid. Including
I like-
red tube. And then number 4, guess who it is? Of course we know it's going to be Bill Gates. So
Of course.
I like how it's not the poll's not who's a threat to Marxist Leninism. No, it's who's a threat to infrared.
well, they are Marxist Leninism. Everybody else is fake. They're like
Oh,
Voss, those other
okay.
guys are just leftovers.
I see. Yeah, no, he's the one true ML. Good point.
Marx and Lenin were leftoids. Haas is the only one who truly understands what's up.
Yeah, why wasn't Britain included in the Anglo box?
Because Britain isn't Anglo enough. So big up Canada and Australia. That's pretty base. They feel proud right
Not white enough anymore, UK. What are you doing? You're out of the Anglo box.
now.
They just bring on a bunch of bitter exiles and opposition figures. How can you
Bitter exiles. By the way, he would refer to Kareem as a bitter exile. Let's just be clear about that. Kareem
Which is,
Rafai.
it's funny you brought him up because I was going to mention he had a tweet. I didn't really get a chance to look into this, but he tweeted I believe today that there were arrests made of people who, the very few who chose not to vote for Assad this time around.
Oh, of course. That's what they always do. Of course. Like, yeah, it's not just a meme. Like, yeah, straight up. If you don't vote, like, because if you're part of that 0.3% or whatever that didn't vote for him, yeah, the secret police are coming to your door. Of course they are. So
it's a good way to weed out the opposition.
Like, that's what happens in North Korea. In North Korea, when you go to vote in North Korea, there's only one option on the ballot, but there are 2 voting booths basically. So it's not like it's a private voting booth or whatever, but if you approve of the candidate selection, you put it into one spot, and if you disapprove, you put it in like a red box, and everybody that disapproves, they catch up with later and they're gone. So.
That's CIA propaganda.
But nobody puts anything in the box, so
the Anglo box.
The Anglo box, yeah. The Juchi box.
talk about the elections?
Syrians are honorary Anglos.
Oh, wait, he's here.
You,
He's
horse
teleported.
The big monkey man.
We summoned him. He's here.
Husband, screwed chicken man.
Wait, what does Haas think of Assad?
Assad good, because he know Anglo.
He know Anglo.
He know Anglo. Wait. I got a mind bender. Don't. Hopefully you won't malfunction on this one. What do you think of Jeremy Corbyn?
Uh-oh.
It's like he's super. Haas can't handle it. Yeah,
Haas.
Yeah, he can't handle Corbyn because Corbyn's Anglo, but he's also a lefty. So.
Mind.
Yeah.
Syria.
You're done,
and
son.
not mention the fact that most.
Yeah, Audacity.exe has stopped working.
Honestly, that's not far from the truth most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
It can't handle my sick edits, bro.
Syrians actually support Bashar al-Assad.
Wait, we're going back. He said something dumb.
Not mention the fact that most Syrians actually support Bashar al-Assad.
That's false.
Oh god.
Why did 8 million?
Bashar al-Assad.
Assad.
that he won in a landslide victory with 76% turnout. Some people think you can only say these things when you are a big fan of Assad. The concept of Syrian sovereignty.
That's kind of amazing too. Just like, well, we had a bunch of people show up, kind of like, you know, when people were in the streets for the death of Soleimani, you know, things like that. We had a lot of people show up, and most of the vote went to Assad, so therefore it's legit. That's all you need to know. People showed up. Assad got most of the votes. That's it. Case closed. It's almost like that was done. It's almost like people were forced to go do that to make it look like, wow, this is it would put like most nations to shame. Most nations, you know, you're not going to get that kind of turnout in the freest democracies. But look at Syria. We really love democracy. Everybody showed up and everybody voted for Assad.
Richard, I don't think anyone likes acid reflux.
Oh man, let's keep going.
The will of the Syrians does not even enter their brains. You had Syrians out celebrating in droves all over Syria.
That's not true. That was a show.
Dancing Syrians.
Yeah, Syrians getting drunk.
Ah, jeez.
Like they were hostages, dude.
Yeah, pretty much everybody is a hostage, especially if you're in like Damascus.
Yeah.
You don't think that's something you might want to mention? No, you don't think that's relevant to the topic? The media talks about
the people bringing up the sham election. He really owned them. You don't really care. You don't care about the self-determination and the will of the Syrian people, man. But he has a counter to that too, because he's going to look at people who left the country for fear of their lives and say, "Oh, they're just bitter. They're bitter exiles. They're not part of the cool kids club anymore, man."
They should have been grateful to Assad for the privilege of getting to live in a terror state.
Thank you, Mr. Assad.
Syrians suffering and living in poverty. Yeah, and why are they in poverty? Because
America bad.
Because their government hoards all the wealth and spends it on military shit and swag.
No,
basically.
this is America. This is America. You're just projecting. This is America.
Oh yeah, America is really the hub of income inequality in the world.
Well, they would unironically say, like, yeah, of course. That's what we talk about all the time.
Well, that's your opinion if you're like totally disconnected and your only news source is TYT.
No. Actually, no. Straw man. Mischaracterization. Ad hom. I also watch Vosh.
Okay. I retract my statement.
Syria is under crippling sanctions imposed by the
Sanctions, man. It all would have been swag if it weren't for those meddling sanctions, man.
How dare the world not want to economically enable the state that does chemical weapon attacks, kills hundreds of thousands of their own people? No, that's on the world. The world is obligated to trade with them and treat them just like any other state. Why are you treating us like a pariah, man? You're not letting us grow.
You guys want to know something that's so funny and kind of embarrassing on my part tonight? After I got off work, I saw that I wanted to see what Richard was up to, so I type it in, or like I saw on my timeline, or I forget exactly where I found it, but basically I saw Richard Medhurst said something, but I thought it was Richard Medhurst. He said, anybody who disputes Bashar al-Assad's crushing victory is a CIA shill. Stop ignoring the will of the Syrian people. And I actually quote tweeted and I said, this guy sounds like a troll, unironically. And then I realized, oh, that was Medhurst, and I deleted it. But the thing is, you can't actually tell the parody apart from him. Like, that is basically something that he would tweet out, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Medhurst account. Which, like,
I think,
is that the one that Suzuki runs? Or is that somebody else?
I don't think any of us do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Jay fell for it too.
Yeah, he did.
Oh man. Uh-oh.
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Not even enter their brains. You had Syrians out celebrating in droves all over Syria. You don't think that's something you might want to mention? No, you don't think that's relevant to the topic? The media talks about Syrians suffering and living in poverty. Yeah, and why are they in poverty? Because Syria is under crippling sanctions imposed by the United States and the European Union. People are suffering because the West has been trying to destroy Syria for a decade.
I wonder. You said like it's kind of amazing. We could literally in 10 seconds pull up poverty rates in Syria by year. Okay, wait. What year? What year were the first sanctions involved? That's how easily something like this is disproven. He's like acting. Why do you think Syrians are in poverty? It's Syria. That's such an asinine thing to say. Yeah, why are all these Iraqis in poverty? Why are all these Pakistanis in poverty? Yeah, this is a part of the world where most people are going to be in some form of poverty. They're not really going to be doing all that well for themselves. Why are all these people in Zimbabwe in fucking poverty?
Because of America, man.
Because of America.
Anything. If a bird dies in America, a country goes into poverty. It becomes
and there's so many dumb people in the West who are going to buy this because they legitimately, like Kevin was saying, they believe that America is the hub of income inequality in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of their version of events. But I've got some news for you. You've seen nothing. Nothing.
No, but they would say that America has more, and they'd be correct that America has more billionaires than Syria, though. So more income equality, bro.
Having more billionaires is good.
No, that's like capitalism.
That's a sign of a successful society.
No. We think capitalism, but like you need to think outside the box, man.
You don't get it, Cap. Oh, good.
Our nation bad. We have many billionaires. Their nation good. They have one billionaire.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait. Who is it? Who's this big business tycoon in Syria? Maybe we should learn from him. If he can be the one billionaire over there, he must be doing something right? Like he's at the top. Who is it?
His name is Bashar Gates.
Oh, okay.
Bashar Gates.
There were no bread lines in Syria before the war. You didn't have to wait 48.
No, God.
That's
whose fault is the war?
Why do you think the Civil War started, dude? It started over bread. That's literally what kicked it off.
Dude, there were no bread lines though until the war.
No. You want to know why there were no bread? People couldn't even afford bread. So
wait a minute, but he told me that there was no income inequality without the sanctions.
Well, I guess it was like America's fault and shit, right?
Richard wouldn't lie to me. He's a truth.
Hours up to 2 days just to get fuel. That's a direct result of Western intervention and the West trying to topple the Syrian government. They said only people in government-controlled areas.
Yeah, Jay fell for the parody account too. We thought it was real. Yeah, and like we're used.
You can't blame us.
We see trolls all the time, and our BS detectors didn't go off until after we quote tweeted. So.
Are allowed to vote as if the government is purposely excluding people from voting. Why don't you go ask Al-Qaeda why they don't have polling stations in Idlib? Yeah, why don't you go ask the Americans who are stealing the oil in northeastern Syria? Why
oh
my God! Oil. There's no oil. There's like the oil's a meme. It's negligible.
It's olive oil.
Yeah,
he said like why don't have Al-Qaeda have voting polls set up in Idlib? What a voting poll connected to the Syrian election? Why don't they? Why doesn't the rebel-held city?
They can run too. They can run the Al-Qaeda party, right? It's a democracy, man.
Yeah, but there's the meme. There's the meme of the month right there. Why doesn't the rebel-held city have a voting poll connected to voting for the government that they're fighting against.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Well, think about it. I mean, we talk about all those people that died in the Korean War. Think about it. Not as many North Korean troops who had died in the Korean War if the U.S. had gone out of their way to help them and to give them food and shit and medicine and everything during the war. Right?
Well, when you put it that way.
Yeah.
There are no polling stations. Why don't you ask Canada, France, and...
Oh, wait. Canada, that's Anglo-box.
France, not so much. Their Anglo status is very debatable.
Germany, why they blocked Syrian citizens from going to vote in the Syrian embassy.
Yeah. How dare Canada prevent North Korean? How dare? No, bro.
Why did it?
No.
I wonder if they block North Korean citizens from voting in their election.
Oh my God! Except he's not a troll. That's
the real voter suppression, man.
No, but see, this is what I'm saying. If that was in tweet form on Twitter from that bot account, we would all fall for it. Like, I actually think what he just said there was more stupid than what the bot said, or than what the fake account said about celebrating the election. He's saying how, well, no, they prevented the Syrians in exile from voting in the election.
No, dude, I mean, that bot's not even a parody. Like that, it's too close to reality. It's the uncanny valley with that.
You know what we're basically at right now? He's parodying the bot of him.
Oh my God.
Richard's the kind of guy who he'd see the bot and he'd be like, "Hey, this guy's making some pretty good points."
No. He'd say no, I can kind of see where that guy's coming from, but he's a little too moderate for me.
Oh my he's God. He's a little too mask on for me. I'm gonna go all the way with it.
Yeah, no, mask off, scarf on though.
There's a new meme. # mask off, scarf on.
Okay. Yeah, see, we have memes all the time. Even our opponents have to acknowledge that our memes per capita, per stream, are way higher than anybody else's. We got memes for days, dude. And apparently Canada, Australia, or not Australia, Canada, Germany, and France, it didn't have polling booths for days, though. Apparently, Syrians were prevented from voting. That's anti-democratic, man. Aren't we supposed to be for democracy? How could we stop people from voting? That's basically like stopping German citizens in your country from voting in the German elections, right?
It's crazy, man. It's almost like Syria is the one true democracy. And these other states, they're fakes. They're
no. That's Western lies. North Korea is also the true democracy. There's two of them.
Oh yes, that was DPRK erasure on my part, and I humbly apologize to the dear leader.
Yeah.
All these Western countries were saying even before the election happened that they reject the results.
Well. Wait, but they didn't even get the results yet. How can you reject it if you
gotta keep an open mind, man.
You gotta keep an open mind, man. You gotta give it a try, man. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. Everything, his emoticons, all of this. He's a parody of himself, and so it raises the question: does he believe it, or is he just doing this to cater to his audience?
Oh, that's a good question. I think
because he knows his audience unironically believes this shit. But then you're like, okay, but is this guy actually that stupid, or is he grifting?
Oh, it's hard to tell, isn't it?
No, it is.
It really is.
Because with Kyle just gives off really stupid vibes and stuff. But the way that he says stuff, it's not 100% that level of ridiculous where you'd say there's no way he believes it. We all know he believes it, but with this. It raises the question, you don't even believe that. Is he just doing this for the money?
It's a good grift. I'll give him that. If that's really what's going on, it's an excellent grift. You basically get to be the token Syrian in the West who shits on the West and uplifts Syria. And there's going to be a lot of people who do go along with that.
Yeah.
And they don't have to. Like that's that, and we of course we've commented on that before, but that's what makes it so shameful. If you're in Syria, you have to go along with this kind of thing, or you could potentially join some rebel group or a jihadist group, and that would be your life, and it would be a really tough life. Or you could leave the country if but you may not make it out. But if you're in the West, you don't have to do any of that. You actually don't have to buy into this. You don't have to buy the narrative laid out by the despotic regime as if you live in that nation. It's almost like you have to go up to people and remind them, hey, you're a Canadian. You're not a Syrian. Or you're an American. You're not a Syrian. What the fuck is this? And same goes for him. He's not in Syria. Oh well, but he is Syrian. Well, who the fuck cares? We know Syrians who don't say this kind of shit.
They prevented him from voting, man. It's a violation of his democratic freedoms and shit, man. He was gonna vote for Assad, man.
He really likes his tax policy.
Yeah, and like his his mask policy, always has the mask off. We're
going to have scarf Thursdays. Yep. You have to wear a scarf. That's the rule.
First of all, this is not your country for you to reject the results. What do you think?
Oh my God! No.
Stay in your lane.
This is why I wanted to do this clip too. Is that it's one of those clips where every 5 words you have to pause it and be like, "What did he just say?"
Come again? It's not your country, man. It's not your country, man. Who are you to decide?
Syria is a colony. Second
wait
of all,
a minute.
This show
couldn't we say the same thing to him? Couldn't we say the same thing to him? Like, so because this is a bad precedent to set. So he's in the UK. I guess that's fine. You can comment on the UK. That's fine. Why are you always talking about my country, Richard? You're not an American.
Oops.
Why is that any of your goddamn business? Every other video is about the goddamn United States. Oh, but you don't live here. How can you talk about it? You don't live here.
He would say it's because America violates Syria's sovereignty, man. So
they're very earned sovereignty. I mean, they drew lines on a map. Fuck. What more do you need? They have a post office.
That means, hey man, lines on a map. That means you get to gas kids and it's A-okay. So there we go.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Oh wait, he likes piss. What is that?
I'm gonna screenshot it.
Yeah, that's one of the things about his videos that makes me think he's not a grifter, because he always goes on these passionate rants, and it's just but
the stuff that he says, the way he says it, it's not something that like state TV in Syria is not going to do that. They're going to be like, all hail and all praise the great leader Bashar Assad, who won the great election today. This is a victory for our side and all this kind of, but they're not going to do this.
No, this is clearly geared toward a Western audience.
But
I don't think that necessarily means he's lying about how he feels.
No, I know. It's funny because it's the same thing with like North Korean state TV. Even North Korean state TV, which is over the top and over dramatic, and they're all like, long live the leader and all this kind of stuff. They don't like go on like temper tantrums or anything the same way that their tanky shills in the West will. They still will like look formal and everything, and they just talk in a really like sort of boisterous way. It's to show respect for the great leaders, right? Otherwise they go to the camp. But the shills that they have in the West, they like get red in the face with anger and shit and everything. It's kind of funny. Like even the state TV of the state that he's shilling for is calmer than that. Like way calmer.
Take a chill pill, Richard.
You have a Snickers.
You're not yourself.
Care at all about what Syrians actually want. They talk about democracy, and then they deny Syrians the right to vote and participate in their...
Hey man, was there a ballot box? That means it's a democracy. The more votes, the more democracy it is, man. He got
I
millions of
see.
votes, so it was millions of democracy, man.
This is like some of the grandest gaslighting you'll ever see. Well, you care about democracy and you care about the will of the Syrian people, but they just spoke, man. Didn't you hear them? This is what they want. It's like just imagine the dumbass watching, like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Just leave it to them. Leave it to them to figure it out. Because if the last 10 years proved anything to me, it proved that Syria can clearly handle itself, and there's nothing. The world doesn't need to be involved. No one needs to be involved. No one needs to verify anything. They've got it figured out. In fact, we should be taking some tips from them. I mean, look at all these people. They had to come out to vote. You know, how many people did we have show up to vote? We have not that many.
By the
As
way,
many as Syria.
in case you're wondering, this guy's Patreon, he has 357 patrons. Those guys aren't in it for the lols. Those guys are serious. So.
They're for reals. They've got their
They're for
gamer
real.
face on.
Don't come here and talk to me about democracy. We saw the so-called democracy that America and Britain brought to Iraq. We saw the democracy that NATO.
Oh, God. Right, as opposed to the real democracy under the Ba'athist Party. Great, wonderful.
You know what's funny is a lot of these guys would, back in the day there was that story circulating about Iraq where essentially they took a vote to have America kicked out. And at the time, and obviously that was brought on by a lot of Iranian influence, but at the time, all these guys were then citing Iraq as if it were a legit democracy. Like, oh yeah, look, they don't want you here. They had a vote and it came out that they didn't want America. But now it's just Iraq being thrown under the bus because it's politically convenient.
Well,
Let's talk about 2003 again.
But you're just cherry picking and stuff. You gotta understand they're operating on principles. If it's anti-American, it's democratic. If it's pro-American, it's undemocratic. That's the principle.
Well, at least that's consistent.
Brought to Libya and Afghanistan. We know what these people are. They are imperialists and colonizers.
Oh, you did the Lewis thing.
Jesus.
You're a literal
colonizer.
colonizer. That's a
Colonizer.
The colonizer.
Are you stupid?
Stupid dirt.
Are you stupid?
No real democracy. Clearly things were going great in Libya. They had democracy then. And then we got involved and everything.
Oh
just
yeah,
went to
and
shit.
now it's all slaves and stuff, man.
That's right. It's a giant slave state.
Yeah.
Nothing but slaves as far as the eye
Continue
can
to
see.
attack the Middle East, but occupy it under a different slogan or a different banner.
The
West
Middle
doesn't even
East.
have democracy itself. How can you talk about democracy when you disenfranchise
What does
voters
it have to do with the Middle East?
Wait,
Like,
he's gonna bring up the Georgia voting laws. Like,
oh, come on, man!
no, let's take a look.
West doesn't
You
even have
can't
democracy
even-
itself.
No, you can't
No.
be serious.
No, but that's what you ask after every sentence, and look, he's a log cow. The question is he a grifter log cow, or is he one of the dumbest people in the world?
I don't know, man. He seems very, that scarf seems very purposeful.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
true.
very, very, very theatrical. Maybe this is all fake. I don't know.
Yeah, Chris says
So
questions
somebody
the
believes this.
American elections, but the Syrian elections completely legitimate, and he'd be like, "Yeah, damn straight."
Damn straight, bro.
How can you talk about democracy when you disenfranchise voters in the US? When the UK bans people from protesting and infiltrates activists with undercover police, when they
Oh, he did the Daniel Black thing, like drunk in the woods with the FBI,
Oh, Jesus. With the alphabet boys.
with the alphabet boys in the woods with the alcohols.
How does that disenfranchise people?
On the weekend, on the woods.
That's called an intelligent move. They're not going to waste the resources on that unless there's a very specific reason they're putting an officer in place. Probably because they're not just peaceful protesters.
Yeah, but Reese, Stip being an imperialist, Stip it, man.
Stip.
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 Stiff.
I will attempt to stip. But he's seriously going to make a comparison between the U.S. voting, voter suppression, and Syria. They're not even in the fucking same universe, bro.
But like Syria doesn't gerrymander, man.
Like, this is the problem here. Like I'm all for addressing things at home. But it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter what was actually happening. No matter what the issue is, big or small, they're always going to bring it up, and there's always going to be people who are like, well, the United States isn't perfect, so therefore they are not in a position to criticize this obviously abhorrent regime that has no real democracy going on. There's kind of a difference. There's kind of a difference between disenfranchising the voters by not allowing them to pass out the water bottles in the line, because that might be bribery. That's a stupid thing that people actually believe here. But there's a big difference between that and rigging an entire election from the ground up. That's what we're dealing with here. That's the comparison he's making. He's literally comparing those things. No comparison to be made there whatsoever.
Jail journalists like Julian Assange. This is
No, I see that. We got
you.
through. No.
No.
We got through 5 words. Jail journalists like Julian Assange, and already, boom. It's where do you even start? Where do you even start? Journalist. Okay.
In those 0.2 seconds, we will spend 5 minutes.
That's unironically. What? Oh my god, dude.
Journalism. He was just doing journalism, bro.
He's just doing journalism.
You know what? That's gonna be my cop out. If I ever find myself, like, oh, we gotta arrest you, I'm gonna be like, well, hold on, I'm a journalist.
Journalist, man.
I've got a notebook here, got a camera. I mean, it's got to count for something.
Sexual assault charges, but I'm a journalist, bro.
I'm a journalist.
That what a lolcow, what a goofball. Like you'll notice for the thumbnail for the stream tonight, I have him there with fool on his forehead. That's what he is.
How can you criticize Syrian elections when you have potholes? Yeah, basically, my potholes. That's another great meme.
Potholes.
I mean, you've got potholes, so why are you stay in your lane? And your lane, believe me, has a lot of potholes.
Just look at how many countries they have destroyed and decimated. Look how many right-wing governments and bloody coups they have pulled in the Middle East and Africa and Latin America. Who are you to talk about democracy?
Oh, God. My right wing.
My right-wing coups.
McCoos, bro. What about 1953, bro?
1953.
Oh man,
I would be disappointed if he didn't bring that up. I mean, don't just mention coups. You gotta mention the big one. Come on,
do the meme. You gotta do the meme, man. You gotta deliver. You gotta do the meme. So.
I wonder if there was any context to why certain governments that weren't necessarily all that reputable were put in power. I wonder if it was just. I think the real story is the United States just did it because they could. They were like, guys, this will be real funny, right? So, like, you see this government over here. You know how they're in power? Well, what if they weren't? Like, what if these other guys were in power, man?
That's a prank, bro.
What if they came in and shot them all up, and that's the new government? That's how it works.
Even after 10 years, all you hear is the same nonsense repackaged over and over. Oh, Assad used chemical weapons.
The same nonsense.
Nonsense.
Yeah, no validity whatsoever. Even the liberal internationalist orgs that we are constantly being critical of, they would say that Assad used chemical weapons because, of course, he did. And not just once. We say that like, oh, he used chemical weapons. No, like hundreds of times. Our enemies admit this. These guys don't, though. They want you to believe that, no, that never happened. Just like with Saddam Hussein. They've been so successful at gaslighting the world and erasing, doing a little bit of historical revisionism when it comes to war crimes from some of the worst despotic tyrants of modern history. It's amazing. Like, you almost would want to applaud it if it weren't so despicable. That's amazing. Yeah, no chemical weapons. There's photographic evidence, video evidence of these weapons being used. Who the fuck are you fooling? Except for someone who's maybe fucking blind. You know what? And if they're blind, we'll hook them up, and we'll give them some headphones, and they can listen to the screams of the dying children. How about that? Figure out the rest for themselves.
Those were crisis actors. They were.
Oh yeah, they literally. That's what Aaron Mato was saying. Literally, they were doing Russian propaganda. Crisis actors. Are you fucking kidding me?
No. He's not kidding you. They were paid by Gaytheon.
You can't be fucking serious. Can you imagine the logistics of doing something with crisis act? That would mean you would have to pay someone enough to never be seen again, ever. Where are they? Are they all being sent to the Epstein Island?
No, they just like no. You don't understand, man. You don't understand. They walk around now with like one of those like big noses with like the glasses and stuff.
There's a new animation ready.
No. See, like Arthur, yeah, that would be a great short for YouTube. Just like, oh, it was crisis actors. Now they all have those disguise emojis on. It's like. And like they all wear like those detective trench coat things too, like as a disguise. And
it's a pretty good disguise.
Yeah, it's a good disguise. It's like, wait, why do all these guys look like the classic archetype of disguise?
I'll put the disguise glasses on top of the hijab. How about
that? So basically Millsrow with a disguise prank mask.
Yes, Burka boy.
Burka boy. I mean, now we have so many memes, like Burka Boy. That's another one. Yeah.
They can't even say Syrian government or Syrian army. They have to say Assad regime or
it's a legitimate synonym.
No, but the Syrian Arab army. Yeah, no, that gets talked about all the time. People refer to the Syrian army or the Syrian Air Force.
Oh yeah. Right? So, I mean, like, that's such a skewed perspective because we're constantly talking about how much legitimacy they're given for essentially being jihadists. That's what Assad is. But he wears a suit. It's just like the Muslim Brotherhood. You put on a suit, you're a moderate.
He's a doctor. He's an ophthalmologist. You know why he went into ophthalmology? Because he gets queasy around blood. He can never hurt a fly, man. And you want to charge him with killing people? It's slander, man.
Yeah, because all the tyrants, if we know something about tyrants, it's that they directly kill every person who they're eventually charged with killing.
Well, yeah, that's why Stalin,
Hitler gassed everyone personally. That was his thing.
Well, yeah, that's why Stalin, like you'll notice that Stalin, he killed like the most people of basically any of the tyrants besides Mao. He also lived a long time. It took him a long time to do it. He had to go around and kill about 3,000 people around the Soviet Union each night. So, but yeah, he got back. No. But you know how he did it though. The Red Navy, they confiscated Santa's sleigh from the North Pole, and that thing can fly around the world pretty fast. You guys ever watch NORAD Tracking Santa? Like he can get around pretty fast. So that's how he did it.
Hey, Kevin. Have you ever heard of the North Pole?
Hello? Hello?
Hey, Reese. You ever heard of liberal unilateralism?
Unilateralism? Hello? Henley? Anyone here? Henley?
Anyone there?
I have never heard of it. Not once.
Henla.
The symbol.
The symbol. Well, by the way, he looks so schemy right here. Like, what is that?
That's the face he was making when he decided to follow me.
He's
he was
selling
like,
a used car right now.
Wait, does he follow you on Twitter?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Bill Crystal. Sorry.
Oh no. I was talking about Medhurst. I'm pretty sure I'm blocked. Like, what's his at? I think he blocked me because
I think it's just Richard Medhurst. No, if he believe me, if he followed me, you would know.
Okay,
You
because
would
when I
know.
type in Richard Medhurst, like the only thing that comes up is that parody account.
There ain't no way he's gonna follow me. No way in hell.
Oh no, he hasn't blocked me yet. Okay. That's he's got almost 75,000 followers, which is amazing. Like imagine following this guy. Like, okay, so we read for you earlier what the bot parody account had to say, but look at a real tweet that he put out today. He said, quote, if you want real state media and propaganda, just grab any Western paper and look at how they talk about Syria. It sounds like something the troll would say to make fun of Richard.
That's the uncanny valley, man.
Yeah, he says Syrian sovereignty and independence are not up for debate. The notion that Western nations must come in and quote unquote supervise countries in the global south, both caps, to give them quote democracy unquote is just rebranded. And he's about to do the meme colonialism.
Oh, sorry, that was a lot of bullshit, and it's tiring.
Yeah, no, here's another one. Anyone who resists Israel's crimes is automatically a terrorist. You can't talk about resistance because then people will ask, what are they resisting? And it becomes very clear soon thereafter who the oppressors are. And Israel doesn't want people understanding the situation. Also, he quote tweeted Saeed Mohammed Marandi. He said, the U.S. regime is the greatest source of evil on this planet. And he quote tweeted them and said, Great Britain's demon spawn.
Yes, they came out of the Anglo box too.
No, the guy's a clown ball. Like he's a literal circus clown.
That's Osama bin Laden like rhetoric, right?
No, I know that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, if you look at like what Peter Lavella stuff, like he says
he may as well have said the Great Satan.
No, I
Why
know,
not?
but that's the thing. Is like there are other like straight up like state TV bootlickers out there, like Peter Lavelle and stuff, that don't even post stuff that crazy sounding. You know, like he really takes it to another level. I mean, it's even less mature than Kyle.
That's something, man. That's an achievement.
Wait, what's he doing? Okay, let's go back.
Or Syrian army. They have to say Assad regime or Syrian regime forces. Really? They had no problem with.
I was going to mention this too.
Why do you say Assad?
Assad. Yeah, no, he keeps switching between like, and that's kind of a fake thing too, like because he doesn't really have much of an accent, but sometimes he'll put on a little bit of an accent. He'll give an accent here and there, and it's very false. Doesn't sound all that legit, but it sounds like there's I don't know if people are going to remember this, but there was an old clip of George Galloway giving some like pro-Muslim propaganda bullshit, and he's the type of guy, even though he's like a white British atheist, he's speaking in Arabic and trying to put on this fucking terrible accent, and it's like, George, you're a white dude. Like, what are you doing? This is cringe. But I guess it was for an Arabic speaking audience. I was gonna say though, real quick, that there are historical documents that from the U.S. U.S. sources or whatever, they would call the U.S. government a regime. So it's a word with a lot of negative connotations, obviously, but basically, before any of that, it was just a synonym for government. That's what it means. Now, obviously, today, you typically don't associate it with a good government, but that's probably because that's what Syria is. They're not a good government at all. They're a dictatorship. Oh, but no, but democracy, though. People voted.
Regime is honestly, it's a neutral thing. It's kind of like propaganda. It used to be like a neutral thing, but it's gotten like a negative connotation to it. But honestly, it's a soft term. Like you could honestly call them a despotism. You could call it a police state. You could call it a tyranny. Regime is soft.
Oh, that's one of the nicer things we could. It's almost like people say that out of some kind of political correctness.
No, it's almost the politically correct way of referring to it. It's almost like a clinical way of referring to something. And yet, no, the reality is, at the end of the day, any government is technically a regime. But, but that triggers them. They can't handle that. Now, imagine if he heard us calling Syria a despotism, what he would do. Like, he would smash the mic.
He'd pull a real big monkey man.
He would chimp out.
Bashar al-Assad 20 years ago when he was...
No, you're so right about the fake inflected acts. Like, what was...
That's a Gallowayism.
You're Anglo. Like, he's basically Anglo at this point. Like...
Really?
You're culturally Anglo.
He sounds Anglo. Like, if you didn't know this guy's race or anything, you just heard him speaking, you would think he was a white dude.
With Bashar al-Assad 20 years...
We accepted you, man. We accepted you into the Anglo box. And this is how you betray us?
Or Syrian regime forces. Really? They had no problem with Bashar al-Assad 20 years ago when he was meeting with Tony Blair and the Queen of England and Nancy Pelosi. The West is so desperate.
I hate that shit, man. What a horrible meme. What a horrible meme. Yeah, it's almost like, here's the thing. Not all governments are going to approach Syria in the same way. Maybe that's a bit of hypocrisy. But a lot's happened in the last 20 years, shall we say. A lot's gone down in the last 20 years. But even before that, obviously, no, it wasn't a thriving democracy. So we can point at those people and be like, yeah, they were hypocritical. And they didn't really, they valued diplomacy over democracy. And that's a criticism that is fully worth bringing up. And honestly, a lot of world leaders, they get entangled in that. They get entangled in this situation where it's like, well, you're expected to kind of get along with everyone, or else you raise tensions and people are on edge. And you have to put up with a lot of bullshit like that. Like a generational tyranny. Yeah, 20 years ago, people were shaking hands with him. Maybe they shouldn't have been fucking doing that. Maybe they should have dealt with this shit a long time ago. And now, been 10 years of a civil war, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to deal with it anyway. So there you go. Oh, but my dirty war, my U.S. regime change war.
To get rid of him, they're still peddling this lie about the Duma gas attack, which...
The lie.
The lie. The Duma deception.
Oh, that's right.
That's what the darling of Damascus said.
The darling of Damascus, another great meme.
That one's mine.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I couldn't have done it without Aaron Monte, so shout out to him. So.
He was basically the third wheel in that segment, but very, very instrumental. Yeah, let's talk about. Tell us, Kevin, can you refute that? He called it the Duma lie. What's your answer, neocon? What's your answer, Anglo?
Then, if it's fake, why did people die? Why did the UN's own OPCW conclude that it happened? That's the United Nations. If anybody was going to show for the regime and cover it up or not do their due diligence, it would be the UN. And yet even they admitted it.
Listen, Kevin. There was an intern at the OPCW. They made coffee every morning, and they said it was fake. They work for the OPCW, so
Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
Look, it's not unanimous, man. It needs to be unanimous. The intern said it was fake.
why would they do that? Why would they do that if it wasn't true? Then I guess it was fake. I guess it was fake. But why would an intern ever make up anything about the organization? Why?
And on your point about people dying, look, man, sometimes people just die. You know, sometimes weird shit happens. Sometimes people disappear, man. Some things can't be explained. Quit asking questions.
Yeah, sometimes you just have
it was hard. They had heart attacks. They all had heart attacks at the same time.
Sometimes you just have like a spontaneous mass gas attack, you know?
A spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, no.
It was real the whole time.
The gas, yeah. Oh man.
I mean, people are filled with gas. See? So why do people care? Why do people care about these chemical weapon attacks? Why? I mean, like, we're made of chemicals. Why do people care?
Yeah,
that was kind of a paraphrase of Rania Kalik, if people were wondering. She literally was on her podcast. She was like, why do people care about chemical attacks? And Dylan Meisner posted it, and I was just like, yikes.
Wait. Actually, I want to see that. I might have to do a video on that. That's insanely stupid.
She literally said that. She said, why do people care about chemical weapon attacks?
Okay, the better question is what I asked. Why don't people also care about the conventional mass slaughter?
No, that wasn't her angle.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
my God.
Shock of all shocks.
But, like, how do these people even exist, man? Like, because
they get paid by the enemy states.
No, I know. God damn it, dude! Holy shit!
Duma gas attack, which never took place. The scientists themselves from the OPCW went to Duma.
The coffee boy.
The coffee boy, the intern.
Yeah, he does science. He like mixes sugar with coffee. It's like chemistry, man.
So basically everybody who's on that team agreed there was an attack. And then one guy said, no, there wasn't an attack. And now all these guys are like, ha, there wasn't an attack. I thought you believed in democracy.
Obviously. Well, no. But it's different here. The majority there were imperialist colonizers, so it doesn't count.
You know, there's kind of a scientific consensus that human beings evolved from a common ancestor with other species. But you know what? I found a scientist who said that didn't happen. So what do you got to say to that? Science debunked. It's over. I found a dude. And he's an expert. He's got a PhD. Probably smarter than you. I found a dude. That's all we need to do. Let's just throw everything up in the air. I can find one person who disagrees with everything. I bet you can find one person who doesn't believe in gravity. And as soon as the lie is broken, we'll all start fucking floating. That's where we're at.
Well, then there we go. No more gravity, man. That way,
gravity's been holding us down.
It was a lie, man. It was an imperialist lie. Oh yeah, that's a dad joke. That's a dad joke. So you did a
hashtag dad joke.
Yeah, boomerism. That's right. Yeah, right. Because that's what gravity does. Holds you down, right? It's funny.
Well, thanks for explaining the joke. Now it's not funny, goddammit.
No, but like that's the meta dad joke.
Dad, you're ruining my joke.
But that's the meta dad joke. Is when you explain a dad joke, that's meta dad joke.
That's true.
And found very nothing, true. And the reports were doctored. Go read the emails
on WikiLeaks.
No, I had a dude today who told me to, unironically, I'm going to see if I can bring up the quotation. He commented on a video. He commented, and I quote, at Superpower Broadcasting, we have the Duma cables thanks to WikiLeaks. Delete your account. That dude uses his face. That dude uses his first and last name and his real face. So, like, he signs that, you know? He's not just some anime avatar. He's serious.
He signed his name to it. Well, yeah, I guess you got to delete your channel. WikiLeaks exists.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over.
Leaks, how they omitted the toxicology reports, how the so-called gas canister was manually placed there.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, technically, it was a manual operation to drop it from what they were using. I believe it was aircraft.
Actually, I'm pretty sure the official CIA propaganda was that it just emerged spontaneously from the ground. It grew there.
Oh, yeah, no.
It was a biological canister.
Thanos sent it.
How can anyone believe what Britain and America say about weapons of mass destruction after Iraq?
Come on, every meme.
Dude.
I mean, like he's so predictable. Like I knew we were going there. Like
no, I know. I'm surprised he didn't mention the other thing yet, because there was another thing that you were mentioning, which was that he was going to mention. He was going to mention one of the standard memes that they go to that he didn't bring up yet. It was something that you mentioned earlier, where I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to have to say it, but I forget what it was.
Are you sure this isn't the bot we're watching?
The bot found a way to make a video. It's possible.
No, imagine this was a bot. Like, imagine this was AI to like try to get Patreon money from really gullible anti-imperialists. It'd be a pretty good science project at like MIT. You know,
Iraq is actually really funny in this regard because it exposes a lot of very hilarious cognitive dissonance on the part of people like this, because a lot of them are kind of stuck between, well, we have to say that they had chemical weapons that the United States gave them in the 80s, but by the time that the United States invaded, they didn't have any. They used them all. It's over. Time out. Timesies. We used them. Well, what do you want? Well, you came here for WMDs. You're not going to find them. Oh wait, we did find them. We found a fuck ton of them. I'm pretty sure they're still finding them to this fucking day. There were so many of them. But he didn't have nukes. And people are like, oh, see, stupid America, he didn't have nukes.
Well,
yeah,
if he didn't have nukes,
probably a good thing we got there before he had nukes.
What do you think WMD stands for? It stands for nukes. That's what the W and the MD stand for. Nukes.
Because when a phrase or like an acronym stands for something, it's just one thing. You know, people wouldn't just say nukes. They have to say another thing. They have to say WMD. Obviously.
That's right. That's like how USSR just stood for one country. That's correct.
Oh man.
No,
like that's amazing.
That we're operating on. It's like you go in and like I was given the example of like, you know, half horsepower versus a quarter horsepower. This guy would try to be like, oh no, you want the quarter horsepower thing, it's better. And you're like, it's half the power. And they're like, no, 4 is bigger than 2. You know?
I mean, like when I'm golfing, I always try to get the highest score too, so that's a good point.
That's right. You want the high score. That's what you want in golf.
I
like,
win.
Oh, no, I got 84,000 in golf, man. I'm like super lit and swaggy, man. Trump's got nothing on me.
I took like 14 swings in the sand trap, so really, I
did bigger than Tiger Woods in golf, man. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. It's
that guy got a score of 1. What a fucking loser!
What a loser! I had 85, man. What a loser! I'm
What's your 1 to my 85?
Better than Tiger Woods, man. Do the math, man.
I really hope. I'm curious where it's going to go and fall on this Iraq thing, because that's some epic cognitive dissonance where people they'll tell you, one person in a conversation, the United States gave them, so already US bad, gave them chemical weapons, and then it's like, well, maybe we should do something about that. Maybe we should go back there and clean it up and, you know, make sure they don't have any more. And then it's like, no, they got rid of them. Oh, maybe they should be punished for using them. No, just punish yourselves. It was your fault. Well, what about, you know, should France be held accountable? They kind of were part of it. No. Well, okay, they're Anglo. You can punish them, but not Not Iraq. I mean, you gave it to them. Not really. No. Actually, no, not at all. Not
The
at all.
thing that's amazing is that they got over 95% of their weapons and shit from the Soviet Union and France.
Oh, but we were involved in a proxy war, and we gave them the locations of some Iranian sites or whatever, and they used the weapons. We weren't even specifically supporting one side of the war, and people can debate on wherever they stand on that. That was a clusterfuck. It was basically nobody in the U.S. wanted either side to win because both sides were so fucking horrible. That's where we were. Even Kissinger was like, "I hope they destroy each other." He just said that, and that's funny. That's a funny thing to say because it's true. They probably should have, and they basically kind of did, and they exhausted each other out, and by the end they were, content to let that conflict die down. Not before a fuck ton of them died, a bunch of children sent to their doom. Yeah, it was a horrible situation. Keep in mind, though, that situation was brought on by an Islamic revolution in Iran. That's why those tensions were the way they were. Because previously, we'd been on good terms with Iran. We weren't friendly with Iraq because, as Kevin just noted, they got a lot of their weapons from the Soviet Union. Soviet Union, that sounds familiar. Oh yeah, we were fighting a Cold War with them. And Iraq was a proxy state of theirs. Oh yeah, but we're just best friends. Watch him do this. He's going to try to say that Iraq were our best friends in the whole wide world. The Soviet proxy state was our best friend. Okay.
Anyway, this is a massive propaganda effort to sell a war on Syria. The mainstream corp.
So
he didn't even bother. He didn't
even expound upon it. He's just like, Iraq, meme, done. You know what I mean? And then moves on.
So there we go. I just explained all that. Hopefully somebody took something away from that because he's sure as fuck not going to do it for you.
Basically, he should just release a video where it's like 32 seconds long, and he's just like 9/11 Iraq, WMD, nukes, apartheid, colonialism, imperialism, income inequality, Gaytheon. Cultural Marxism.
I guarantee you, if he actually did that, people would be so unfazed. They'd just be like, "Yeah, this is like new slam poetry, right?"
No. They'd be like, "He's just delivering the news faster."
Speak fast. Speak fast. If you really mean it, you'll speak fast.
Speak fast. Big. Speak big. So, like, imagine somebody. No, you know what? No. Look at what we're seeing on the screen right now. So. Neil is the torso, and Arthur. No. For a second, when I looked up from the keyboard, I looked at that. I was like, "Wait, StreamYard added a feature where you can make your screen twice as tall." But no, it's two different screens. But it's the same. It's even the same reaction. Like it's the same person. Like your arms alive. What? No. That was perfect. For a second there, it literally lined up perfectly, the same angle and everything. So
somebody find the screenshot where it lined up perfectly, and that could be somebody's new profile picture. That is genius. Wait, but you guys didn't even coordinate it because, like, if it was but like, imagine we're so in tune in the Anglo box that it just happened.
Imagine that glitch where Neil had to come back in like 10 minutes through this hadn't happened. This wouldn't work. It'd be a head under the torso, but because that glitch happened. Look, it lines up. It's literally Oz in two screens. He's everywhere.
He just looks a little deformed.
Infrared is unstoppable. He is the next Vosh. He's already two screens on StreamYard. That's impossible.
And his chat's really high energy, I heard. So
no, Destiny said so. He said so himself. He said he even said he wasn't being sarcastic. That's what he told Haas.
And Haas was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
That's kind of cool.
Oh man.
Media.
So who's more gullible, Richard or this dude, Haas?
Oh man. Haas. Well, see, Richard's got a pretty good gig going on. I don't know what the hell Haas has going on.
Law school.
He doesn't have a sweet gaming PC. I'm sure Richard has a sweet gaming PC.
Yeah, Richard. Like, imagine I go and play Fortnite after this, and I hear like he's talking just like, no. I said, like, I entered the lobby, and he's like, no, I was telling them that Assad won the election. I'm like, is that Richard? And he's like,
yeah,
wait,
you'd know right away because he'd be like, what did you just say about Bashar al-Assad?
And I'd be like, yeah, and I'd be like, Richard? And he'd be like, oh, shit, the ghoul's in the lobby. Like,
hey, I gotta, somebody recognize me. Are you a fan? Hell no. Hell no.
No. And I'm just imagining like the other
Are you a bitter exile?
Yeah, and the other two people in the lobby are like gamer dudes who don't give a shit about politics, and they're like, yo, so like what's this beef about?
This is gay.
Yeah, he's gay.
Serves as the PR department of the national security state and the military-industrial complex. They want.
Oh man, buzzword after buzzword after buzzword after buzzword. And you know what he would say? He'd say, "Oh yeah, well, buzzword is a buzzword."
I suppose that's true.
To convince you that right-wing jihadists are freedom fighters and that counterterrorism by Iran, Russia, and Syria is.
Like, I like how he identifies Assad as inherently left-wing, except Assad works with suicide bombers and is a cultural...
And he works with Russia.
And he works with Russia. And he's a racial chauvinist and an white supremacist.
Nope, he's left-wing. He's a lib.
He's a lib. He's a leftoid.
Oh, God, no, yeah. He's a shit lib, as Richard said.
That's what he is.
He's a ship liboid.
Tyranny. You know, if Syrians didn't support Bashar al-Assad, how could he possibly have stayed in power for 10 years?
Bashar
al-Assad.
They wouldn't support Bashar al-Assad.
That's the only time when he does the accent. It's so fake. God damn it.
Look, man, like, he just likes to be phonetically sensitive to the people. He's really in touch with the people.
Imagine that's not even how it sounds natively.
Yeah, imagine it sounds like Assad al-Bashar.
Now that would be a twist.
Yeah, just to confuse the stupid Westerners, man.
They just want to convince you, man, that these right-wing jihadists are freedom fighters, man. That's what the media is all about, man.
Yeah.
Except we've seen the media. We've seen the supposed dissection and analysis of the media from people like Kremlin Kyle, where he would blatantly take people out of context when they talked about the Al-Nusra Front. Who the fuck ever said that? Who the fuck ever said the jihadists were freedom fighters or moderates? They're obviously not talking about those people. They're talking about like the Syrian Democratic Army or some shit. Democratic Force, rather. Oh, but no, you're talking. But these guys are fighting Assad. There are people fighting Assad who are terrorists. So therefore, everybody fighting Assad is a terrorist. Kind of like how one time in the 90s, there was a terror attack in China, and now they have to lock up all the Muzzies because they might be terrorists. Noticing a pattern here? Seeing how this works? It almost sounds like a bunch of tyrannical bullshit. And a bunch of people at home buy it, and unfortunately it's the people who either bullshit you and tell you that they're for small government, or they tell you that they're for liberal rights. And both groups are fucking liars.
Oh, man.
A dozen countries and a dozen more terrorist groups are trying to get rid of him. Are you telling me he's Superman? Syrians support Bashar al-Assad because he stopped...
He's super... Are you telling me he's Superman?
Dude.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, like, he's... I mean, basically... basically the way that that's amazing in this kind of video where you're spreading this propaganda that he got 95% of the vote. He can do no wrong. Everybody loves him. I'm not saying he's Superman. I mean, like, how could he hold off all these groups? He's just one man. He's just one man who controls an entire nation. But he's just a man. He's just like you and me. He's like a regular Joe. Wow. We need to hear that again. What's the context of that?
What if Assad was one of us?
One of us?
Power for 10 years, while a dozen countries and a dozen more terrorist groups are trying to get rid of him. Are you telling me he's Superman? Syrians support Bashar al-Assad because he stopped ISIS, because he stopped Al-Qaeda from taking over the country. He stopped the West from turning Syria into another failed puppet state. And
that
I know
was
this might be
amazing. Like he's out of one side of his mouth, he's like, well, yeah, he stopped all these terror groups in like dozens of countries and he stood up against them all. What are you saying? He's Superman? No one's saying that. You make it sound like that though. Okay, so there's a bunch of countries oppose him. That doesn't really mean that they've done much to fight him or depose him. We could depose him today. Do you understand that? We could depose him today. But he's big upping us out. He stood up to the world. See, this is what happens. When the United States is weak, when other Western nations are weak, when these liberal internationalist institutions are weak, and they do a bunch of speeches and finger waving, you know what it does? First off, it doesn't do shit. The real thing it does is it allows these dictators to say, hey, I'm hot shit. I'm unstoppable. Yep. And then these fucking cunts come on here and they say, look, he stood up against the whole world. This is why the people love him. He defends them. He defends their borders and their nationality and their people. Quit. This is my message to the Western world. Quit giving PR talking points to the enemy. Like when you just sit around for 10 years wagging your finger, it's going to make them feel a little emboldened. We watched a clip on the podcast where basically it was Putin and Assad standing next to each other, and they were talking about, and it was just an exposure of the absolute corruption that runs deep at the UN, where essentially there was going to be a probe, I believe it was the ICC, of Assad and his war crimes, of which I'm sure there's many, and many that we're not even aware of. But Putin, Russia, they said, no, actually, we're going to vote. We have special privileges here, and you don't get to do that probe. And they were just standing there like, yeah, we showed them. We showed those suckers because they treat us like, man, it's hilarious. Like they treat us like any other nation. Look at the shit we get away with, man. It's great. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. Wag your fingers for 10 more years. And then you know what they're going to say? Maybe after 30 years, they'll come back around and they'll say, you know what? Those people who are arguing for regime change back in whenever, 2018, maybe they weren't so bad. Maybe we shouldn't have smeared them as a bunch of warmongering psychopaths.
Yeah.
Because we've sat around here, and maybe by that time there will be a little Bashar Jr. and they can pass on the throne to him. Let's just have, fuck it. Why do anything? Why do anything? Why try to help anyone? Why? I mean, it's not me. I don't live in Syria. You stay in your lane. I'm an American. And if you think about it, America's done some bad shit too, man. Need I remind you, Trail of Tears, slavery, the Georgia Bill? Do I need to go on? Do you have a right to comment on any of this, Yankee?
Yeah, if you think about it, America stands for individualism, and really what you'd be doing is depriving Assad of his individual rights to sovereignty and to abuse.
Yes. Good point, fellow Hawk.
Hard to grasp for a lot of Westerners, but people in Syria do not want to live under the rule of HTS or other head-chopping lunatics funded by the CIA and MI6.
Funded by the CIA? Are you? Wow.
Who? Cite a source. Who?
He's
we were What about Al Nusra Front? Oh wait, no, we didn't do that at all. Oh, he's going to talk about fucking timber sycamore or whatever the fuck. Oh, you were giving weapons to moderate rebels, and then those weapons were stolen, and they got into the hands of people who are a bit crazy. Got into the hands of extremists. So therefore, it's your fault. Therefore, the headline's going to be U.S. arms terrorists. Yeah, in that case, yeah, it's kind of technically true. You're missing a few key details that really alter the context of that series of events. But sure, let's just go with that one. That's the headline. U.S. gives terrorists weapons. Okay. That's how it goes. Fucking hell, how many memes is he going to fit into this?
Probably
how
six
long is
more
how long is this video?
6 more memes. Because Paul said 20 minutes ago, at this rate, we'll be here all day. We only have 43 more seconds left. So.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't figure it'd be that long. When he said 6 more memes, it sounded like 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Luckily, this isn't 30 minutes long.
Oh Jesus! No. And he'll do it. He'll upload videos that long, and it's just like, fuck, we're not covering that shit.
The
No
longest
way.
Wu Gang Rising episode in history.
Yeah, that would be the only thing we'd covered, and by the end of it, we would hate everything.
Right.
Go look at how those so-called freedom fighters and moderate rebels treat women and religious and ethnic minorities. And
like you care. Come on.
Look at Assad. Look at Assad.
Oh yeah, but other people did something bad. So look over there. Look over there. Somebody else did something bad. Look, we can only focus on one thing at a time. That's something I've learned. So how can you possibly criticize Assad when there are people Assad's fighting? They need him. They need the great leader to fight these pesky terrorists. And they believe and do terrible things. Got him.
what kind of elections they have. Syrians don't want some Al-Qaeda wonderland sponsored by Uncle Sam in Saudi Arabia, okay? Syrians want a
Oh my God. There's no evidence that the US or Saudi Arabia funded Al-Qaeda or ISIS in Syria.
Why would the Saudis fund their mortal enemies?
Like, they've been at war with Al-Qaeda since Al-Qaeda started. Al-Qaeda started at war with Saudi and America. But the thing is, this guy is brown. But this guy does basically, but they're Arabs, so they must be all on the same side. That's the meme, right?
Look, my side wears suits. Need I say anything more?
I mean, that's the Muslim Brotherhood meme, basically. So
he wears a suit.
It worked in Canada, so I mean, they're mainstream, basically. You know,
he works with terrorists. He kills more people than these terrorist organizations involved, but he wears a suit, so he's the good guy. That's how it works.
Yeah, suit good. Yeah, there you go.
By the way, shouldn't that make you good?
No, that makes me bad because I'm a colonizer, imperialist, and stuff.
Oh yes, you're an Anglo. I forgot.
And an Anglo.
I couldn't tell through that thick accent.
And actually, one of the worst kinds of Anglo, actually, a Canadian Anglo.
The Canucks.
Worse than a British Anglo.
Killer a stable country that is multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and most importantly, one that isn't controlled by the West. Okay, Syrians want a country that stands with Palestinians and with the resistance. This election...
Jesus.
He fits so much. This is a 5-minute video, but we've already been here for 90 minutes.
That's why we dedicated a stream to it, I suppose. But, I mean, you're going to tell me he's going to try to portray Syria as this ultra-tolerant... I mean, look at all these sects of religion and ethnicity. Everybody treated equally, obviously. Very diverse, very accepting. We love the Palestinians. Our leader would never do anything to hurt the Palestinians. Not once. I mean, he certainly he certainly wouldn't bomb refugee camps filled with them. That would be crazy. And if anybody ever told you that, that's some Anglo lies, Anglo deception. I'm Richard Medhurst for Russia Today.
There you go. He's
There you
almost done. He's almost done. He's got 17 seconds left. Let's see how many memes he can pack into this.
Syrians have again sent the world a message that we will not allow colonial powers like the French and the British and the Americans to control our political affairs, our resources, our society. The regime change project in Syria has failed, and Syrians have said no to imperialism.
Cringe.
Wow.
Utter cringe.
Utter cringe. No, I'm glad we didn't save this for Gold Gang Rising. It would have been half the video, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
We'd be going to intermission right now. Anyway, we got to wrap up the stream. It's late. I'm tired. We'll go to closing remarks. We'll start with Neil, then we'll go around.
Thanks for having me on, man. If only I had some alcohol. Well, actually, I do, but it's morning right now, so I don't want to start off my day drunk. So.
Yeah,
lightweight.
Save it for On the Woods in the weekend.
Yeah,
On the woods.
In the weekend.
On woods in weekends.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
We'll go to
If you know, you know.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
There.
Uh-oh. It cut out.
Just shoot bot real quick.
Okay, it went full bot mode. Okay, there's the bot. Yeah. By the way, Dylan Burns quote tweeted the bot today.
So,
Oh yeah, you're making it places.
That's right.
Onkthor.
That's right. Good job, Onk.
I can't wait until Kyle quote tweets the Kyle bot. Like, slander.
Who made this?
yeah, I want to show real quick to your subscribers.
Yeah.
So follow it, guys.
Everybody go subscribe to @KyleKulinski bot. And you might be saying, well, isn't the real Kyle already a bot? Yes, but this is a bot of a bot, so it's meta.
Botception.
Yeah. Bot squared.
Do you have any final thoughts, Onkthor?
Yeah, I think Richard is a bot as well. The AI is taking over.
We've been dealing with a lot of bots lately, honestly. Like, what happened? Like, is this what's hip with the kids, to just be a bot, be an NPC?
Yeah.
Oh, man. We'll go to Tranquil Fury for closing.
Also, that's the name of my upcoming, concept album. So be on the lookout. Okay. It defies genre, really. It switches genre every 2 seconds. So really, you can't contain me in your box.
You know what? That's a really deep answer. I'll check out the Pitchfork review after.
I gave it. I thought about it, man. I thought about it a lot. All right, give the memes a rest for 2 seconds, and that video. 5 minutes of bullshit.
At 100 minutes. We're almost at 100 minutes of
that really says it all, doesn't it? Like, that says more than I could tell you in my spiel, because in the 5-minute video, there's no context given at all. So we had to sit here for 90 minutes, break things down, explain geopolitical and historical context behind some things, expose the methodology of his arguments, which were trash, basically relied on a bunch of rehearsed talking points that an audience of sheep are going to listen to and be like, yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I've heard about that. No, that sounds right. The purpose of the video was to convince you that Syria has true democracy, and not only democracy, but better than the West. I mean, look at what they're doing. They've got feds, harassing protesters in the UK. They've got the Georgia bill. So America and the UK, no legs to stand on whatsoever. Syria, the world's truest democracy, obviously. The best democracy. Look, the best democracy this side of the Mediterranean. And that's what he's trying to convince you. So, because it's not enough. It's not enough to do a video big upping Syria. No, you gotta knock down the West a little bit. That way the audience knows the narrative going forward is Syria good, West evil. Okay. So that's what he tried to convince you. He tried to gaslight you that Syria had a wonderful democracy, and the people, they've been through a lot, but they were just happy to have Assad because he's a loving leader. He obviously cares for them all. I mean, he was there. Did you see it? There was a picture. He voted. He's one of them, man. He's one of them. He was there on the ground, and he put his name on a slip and then put it in the Anglo box, so therefore he's one of them. What more could you want? And meanwhile, Joe Biden, look at him, behind all that security. You can't even get into the White House these days. Some leader, am I right? So, actually, I'm convinced, Richard Medhurst, I'm going to join your Patreon and keep spreading truth, man.
Speaking truth to Anglo power, man.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Wow. So
do I get credit for Reese's album? Yeah, I'll put you on as a co-producer, Nicholas. Couldn't have come up with it without you.
That was Richard, everybody. And with the big brain takes, we're at 96 minutes through this, 97 minutes now, for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes video. Because, of course, if it was 5 minutes and 5 seconds, we would be a minute later in the stream. So for analysis, oh my God, what an idiot. He's either an incredibly good grifter or one of the dumbest people on the internet. And both of those should be equally disturbing. However, it's our job to dunk on him, and we have done our job tonight. Thank you to the Hawks for coming on. You can find these base people over on Twitter. Neil, what's your Twitter handle?
At Neil Cons.
What about you, Arthur?
Kalinsky bot.
Kyle Kalinsky bot. What about Tranquil Fury?
I'm at Spooky Nukies, and well, if you kind of like this style, if you happen to be new, Kevin and I do a podcast every Saturday night on this channel called Ghoul Gang Rising, where basically we do this, except we don't just watch one video. The videos are usually this terrible, though. But this was next level, honestly. This was next level, even for Richard.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you want to support what I do, check me out over on Ko-Fi, PayPal, as well as Patreon. And we'll be back here for, at least Reese and I, for Ghoul Gang Rising Saturday night. And I will see you guys in the next video. So take care and stay based, everybody.
Thank you.